Good morning, students. First of all, welcome all of you in 8th standard. I am Vikas Dasu, your science teacher. Okay. So, in throughout the year, we have to study total 19 chapters in our science. If you see all the chapters of science, then you will find some of the chapters are belong to the physics, some of the chapters are belong to the chemistry part, some of the chapters belong to the ecology part, some of the chapters belong to the biology part. Okay, so this is a mixed type of syllabus. All type of chapters are present in our textbook. Okay, so all of them we have to study, and all these chapters are belongs to us in our day-to-day life. Okay, whatever we study in this year, that all things, near about everything we are, that everything belongs with us, that happen with us every day in our life. Okay, so this is not new for us. We have to study systematically, scientifically, whatever that happens surrounding us. Okay, then again, welcome all of you in 8th standard. Now we have to start our syllabus. Okay, first of all, we don't go with directly chapter number first. We start chapter number 3, that is force and pressure. That's belong to the physics part. Okay, remaining first 2 chapters we will see later, but first we start this chapter, force and pressure. Okay, now first of all, what is force? If I ask you what is force, then what things came in your mind? Okay, now you have to think over it. Actually, what you think when I ask you what is force? Okay, so simply we hear one thing: force is nothing but the pull or push. Okay, simply force is nothing but the pull or push. That definition we see in many books. So simply now, force is actually very regular important quantity that we use every day, every time, for every work. Okay, now suppose I have to kick a football. One football is in front of me and I have to kick that football. Okay, so simply kick means what? I have to simply move that football from here to there. Okay, so if I said, hey football, go there, it will go? No, it's not a magic. Okay, so I have to do something there, then motion of that football will be takes place. So actually what I do there, I have to apply force there, then due to that force, motion of that football is possible. Okay, so force is a very basic quantity that we have to use for the motion of an object. Now we have to see what is pull or push. Okay, suppose I have to open that door, okay, or close that door, then I have to pull or push that door. Okay, if I have to open, then I have to pull it, or I have to close, then I have to push it. Okay, actually what is the meaning of that pull or push? Pull or push means simply what? I have to apply force there. Okay, so if we have to define force, okay, pull or push, this is not actually we can say that exact proper definition of force. Okay, if we have to make proper definition of a force, then we can say that force is nothing but the pull or push due to that motion of an object is possible. Okay, simply due to that pull or push, motion of door is takes place. That is nothing but the force. Okay, now second topic that we have to see. Okay, here due to the application of force. Okay, now we know force is important for the motion of an object. Without force it is not possible. Now if we apply force on an object, at that time what changes takes place in an object, that we have to see now. Okay, now due to the application of force, first what happened, shape and size changes. Okay. Now what happen? Shape and size of an object changes. Okay. If you take a sponge in your hand, if you press that sponge, at that time simply what happen? Size and shape of that sponge get changes. Simply we take another example, that is making of chapati. Okay, simply we use atta for making chapati. We take one small piece of atta and then we apply force on them and give that atta one circular shape. Okay, so simply what happen? Due to the application of force, what happen? Shape and size of atta simply get changes. Okay, from this example we have studied or we have understood that due to the application of force, what happens? Shape and size of an object changes. Okay, understood? Now goes toward the second change. Okay, due to the application of force, what happens? Object start moving. Okay, I already told you one example of football. Okay, one stationary football is here I place. Now I have to move it. As I kick football, due to that kick, what happen? It will be go away from here. Okay, so simply initially football is stationary, but due to the kicking football, its position get changes. Simply it kick means what? I already told you. I apply force on that football, and due to that force, it start moving from its stationary position. Okay. So from this example, we understood if any object is in stationary position, then due to the application of force, we can start moving that object. Okay. Now next, due to the application of force, third change is what? Object stop moving. Okay. Now if suppose we are traveling on a bike. Okay. So after reaching certain position, okay, after reaching somewhat place where we want to go, and then what we can do there? We apply brake of a bike. Due to application of brake, friction between, okay, friction between tires and brake of our object stop. Friction is what? It is also a one type of force. Look at here, frictional force. Okay, so friction is also a one force, and due to that frictional force, our object stop or its motion gets stopped. Okay, so due to the application of force, from this example we studied, object may be stop moving due to the application of force. And next is, due to the application of force, object can change their direction. Okay, it can be change their direction. Okay, we see that we see football game. Okay, football players kick ball in various directions. Okay, simply they easily can change direction of football from player to player by the application of force. Or simply in cricket, if a bowler balls a ball, then batsman with the help of a bat change the direction of a ball. Okay, so simply from this example we can easily understood that due to the application of force, direction of an object may be changes. So look at force is simply what? Pull or push. Due to that, what happen? Motion in an object takes place. Okay. Next, due to the application of force, what changes takes place in an object? Due to the application of force, shape and size may be changed. Object may start moving, or it stop moving, or change in direction of an object takes place. Such changes may take place due to the application of force on an object. Okay. Now next topic we have to see, that is the types of forces. Okay. So these are the force and these are the effect of forces. Now, what are the different type of forces? Okay. Now, so there are two main type of forces. Okay. First is contact force and second is non-contact force. Now, first we have to see contact force. If we look at this word contact, contact means what? Simply in touch. We can say contact means what? In touch. So now in contact force what happen? Two objects are directly physical contact with each other. Okay. Some examples are given in our book. Okay. Two students are fighting with each other. They apply force on each other, so they are directly contact with each other. Okay. One example another given, one person pulling his dog towards him. Okay. So there is also what? Directly contact with dog. Okay. So there is directly contact between two objects. Okay. So that is why this force is called as a contact force, and second is non-contact force, in which two objects in between force is applied. They are not actual physical contact with each other, somewhat distance of separation in between them. Okay, their example we will see later. First of all, we have to see what is contact force. Okay, I already told you contact force means what? If two objects are directly physical contact with each other and force is present in between them, such a force is called as a contact force. In that, first we have to see frictional force. Okay, so this frictional force, we are very familiar with this force. Okay, because we can easily walk on the surface of earth, that is due to the frictional force. Okay, if a frictional force is not present, then we can easily slip on the surface of ground. Okay, so it is one important and useful force. Okay, so actually this frictional force is what? Suppose if I take one ball here in my hand and I throw that ball on the surface of earth. Okay, then what happen? Ground surface and our ball are directly contact with each other. Okay, frictional force is what? It is frictional force is always oppose the motion of an object. Okay, suppose our ball is goes on this direction. Okay, then if the frictional force is present, it try to oppose ball's motion, means it is directed opposite side of our motion. Okay, it is always act opposite side of our motion. It try to oppose the motion, that is the frictional force. So here what happens? Our ball and ground surface are directly contact with each other. That is why frictional force is what? One type of contact force, because ball and ground are directly contact with each other. Next is normal force. Okay, suppose I take one book and put that book on a table. Okay, suppose this is our table and I place one book is over here. Okay, so this book apply force downward side on the our book. Then this table also applies equal and opposite force in upward side on the book. So both the forces get balanced and our book is stationary on the surface of table. So this upward force applied by the table on the our book, that upward force is called as a normal force. Okay, understood? The upward direction force act on an object is called as a normal force. Next is applied force. So here suppose one very heavy object is here. Okay, and I have to move that object in this direction. Okay, so now if I want to move this heavy object in this direction, then if I apply force in this direction, then it is possible to move that object in this direction. No. Okay. So I have to apply force also in this direction. So I applied force in this particular direction to move an object. That force is called as a applied force. Okay. So that is also here what happened. Our body and this object directly physical contact with each other. That is why it is also a contact force. And next is air resistance. Okay, if we are travel on a bike, we are very fast, then air always tries to resist us. Okay, it tries to slow down our motion. So air is also directly contact with us. Okay, so that is why this air resistance force is also a one opposing force, and it is also formed in the category of contact force. Okay, so these are the some examples of contact force. Contact force is what? Simply when two objects are directly contact with each other and force is present in between them, then that force is called as a contact force. Okay, now the second type of force is non-contact force. Okay, simply here non-contact means what? Simply two objects are not directly physical contact with each other. Okay, so such a forces are called as a non-contact forces. Now in that first example is gravitational force. We know if any object direct, suppose this is one object. Okay, if I remove my hand, then that object will be fall on the surface of earth. Okay, if we cut any fruit from the tree, then that directly fall on the surface of earth. Because of what? Because that is the presence of gravitational force. Earth, what earth do? Earth attract all object towards its center. Okay, that is the earth's gravity. Due to that what happen? Actually now we know fruits are on the trees, somewhat distance between earth and fruit, then also fruit falls on the surface of earth. Okay, so there is direct touch between our ground and fruit? No. Our solar system, okay, every planet revolve around the sun in one particular orbit. So there is also not a direct contact between sun and planet. There is also exist gravitational force in between two. Okay, so there is no directly touch between these two objects. Still there is exist force of attraction. Due to that this universe has stability. Okay, so gravitational force does not need direct contact between objects. It present in between any two massive bodies. Okay, so gravitational force is fall under the category of non-contact forces. Okay, next is electrostatic forces. Electrostatics. Statics means what? Stationary charges. Statics means what? Stationary charges. Okay, so if you consider a very simple example that given in our book. Okay, if you take small pieces of a paper and you take one comb, if you rub that comb on our hair and we go near the small pieces of paper, okay, as we go near the small pieces of a paper, then that pieces get attracted toward the comb. Okay, you can do this experiment in your home also. Okay, so there is what happen, some charges are present on this comb and these charges are attract the charges present on the paper. So positive negative charges we know attract each other. Positive negative charges always have attraction, and positive positive or negative negative, that is the like charges, has repulsion. Okay, so due to that what happen, that piece of paper get attracted toward comb. Okay, so simply due to that what happened, actually not a direct contact between piece of paper and comb. Okay, still this piece of paper get attracted toward comb. Okay, so this is also the one non-contact type force. And last is magnetic force. We know two magnets. Okay, if you consider two bar magnets, we know magnet has two poles, north pole and south pole. Okay, this is again one magnet. This is at south pole and north pole. If south pole of one magnet and south pole of another magnet came in contact with each other, at that time what happened? Not a direct contact. Okay, not direct contact, but in some distances they repel each other. They repel each other. Now if here is north pole and here is south pole, then what happen? They attract each other. They attract each other. Means again here what happen? Like poles repel each other and unlike poles attract each other. Okay, so simply here is no direct contact is required for a force. Okay, so such a way that this is also a non-contact type of force. Okay, so such a way that force is simply what? Pull or push. Due to that what happen? Motion of an object takes place, that is simply called as a force. Then due to the application of force, these changes takes place in an object. Shape or size may be changed, it will start moving, it will stop moving, or its direction may be get changes. And these are the some types of forces, that is the contact force and non-contact force, and these are the some example of that contact and non-contact force. Okay, so these are the some basic part we should have to know before directly go in the chapter. Okay, so these are the some basic part we are seeing in our today's first lecture. All this definition you have to write in your notebook. Okay, if you have any problem, then ask me, comment on this video. Remaining chapter or remaining part of this chapter, remaining points we will see in tomorrow's lecture. Thank you.